What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I always admire the investigative journalism done by the folks over at PV. And it's often, where they get these, people admitting terrible things on camera. It's always pretty interesting to me. And now they've kind of set their sight on a lot of these woke teachers, woke students. We saw yesterday where a principal got caught essentially saying that, hey, we don't hire white men or Catholics either. And then yesterday, a new video came out of a prestigious teacher who basically says that white boys are just horrible. One guess the color of this teacher's skin. And since it's a spicy topic, I'm really glad to have a sponsor. Check this out. Established Titles. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Established Titles. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. They allow people to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land so they can call themselves a lord or a lady officially. In return, they commit to plant a tree with every order and protect the beautiful, pristine woodlands of Scotland. Established Titles makes an absolutely amazing gift, and a person could officially get their name changed on documents. Their title pack gives you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate and an official certificate with a crest. Established Titles is currently having a really big sale just for you, my subscribers. You can get an additional 10% off any purchase you make with the discount code TheQuartering. So click the link below, go to establishedtitles.com/TheQuartering and use promo code TheQuartering to save an extra 10% today. I want to start with the lead-in, essentially with the assistant principal. Greenwich, Connecticut assistant principal's hiring discrimination ensures subtle indoctrination of students. Quote, you don't hire Catholics because they're more conservative. Progressive teachers are, quote, savvy about delivering a democratic message. Call me crazy, and a lot of people do. I thought it was a teacher's job to teach, not to indoctrinate, and to tell students how to think or what to think, but to help them learn how to think. You have this conversation. Jeremy Boland, who serves as Cobb Elementary School's assistant principal, was recorded bragging about how he oversees the hiring of teachers who will disseminate, quote, progressive political ideas in the classroom. And you might be saying, oh, okay, well, does this actually happen? Well, I will show you that it does happen. Here's their principal says, you're teaching them, the kids, how to think. That's it. It doesn't matter what they think about. It's if they think about it in a logical, progressive way, that becomes their habit. I mean, he's just saying it right out loud. Right out loud, he's saying it. Veritas journalist. So you're like, gear them to think in a more liberal way? Principal, Believe it or not, the open-minded, more progressive teachers are actually more savvy about, and wait for this part, delivering a democratic message without even having to mention politics. There's a word for that. It's called propaganda. And this dude, it's like all these people who gaslit folks who were like, wait a minute, we need to look at our teachers. We need to look at what's going on. And by the way, I don't want them teaching conservative ideologies in school either. Reading, writing, arithmetic, and maybe teach people how to balance a checkbook and how to understand the college loans that they're about to sign, that the rest of us will have to pay off now. The school administrator noted that it is difficult to terminate an employed teacher, so his focus is on who to onboard. Remember that teacher I was talking about before, the 40-year-old? I'll never change that teacher. The journal says, you're what? I'll never be able to change that teacher. Which one? The conservative one, who's stuck in her ways. I'll never be able to fire her, and I'll never be able to change her. So I make an impact with the next teacher I hire. So my instinct for hiring, I've hired 4 or 5 people. They're pretty good. Okay. So that's where I make my impact. He explains to the journalist how teachers he hires will advance his political and ideological objectives. So it's subtle. The teachers I hire will never say, oh, this is a liberal or a Democrat way of doing this. They just make it the norm. And that's how we handle things. It's subtle. Journalists, and how do you get away with it? That's how you get away with it. And how do you make sure that parents don't find out? They can find out. They can find out so long as you never mention the politics of it. The assistant principal is clear about how judges a prospective teacher who sympathizes in a hypothetical scenario with parents during an interview. Journalists, okay, so someone that sides with the parent, then what? You let them explain. You let them move on to the next question. Journalists, but eventually, what is the outcome of that? They don't get the job. That silence is on purpose. I know I talk slow, but they're saying for a teacher that sides with the parents will not get the job. Bolin says, I'm not a huge expert on religion, but Protestants in this area of Connecticut are probably the most liberal. But if they're Catholic, conservative. Oh, so what do you do with the Catholics if you find that someone's Catholic? Then what? You don't hire them. I mean, we are talking about a massive lawsuit, and I hope that they take every penny from this city and bury them. The elementary school administrator goes on to say discriminates against older individuals as well, also illegal. I need younger teachers, so because Greenwich pays very well, you get teachers from other districts who have been there a long time that want to come to Greenwich. But if they're older, I'm not allowed to do that. I can't tell them I'm not interviewing you because you're older. I just don't interview them. So for one position, I think we had 30 applicants. So out of those 30, I don't think I interviewed anyone over the age of 30. Because sometimes the older you get, the more set you are in your ways, the more conservative you get. September 1st, prestigious New York City private school director touts, quote, sneaking her political agenda into classrooms, disrupting wherever I can. I felt like a double agent, and saying huge contingent of white boys are just horrible. I mean, that sounds like a great teacher. Great teacher. Jennifer Norris, director of student activities at Trinity School in New York City. I just keep trying to disrupt wherever I can, and now I'm in this position. I have so many opportunities to do that. Here's the back and forth, and the video also plays this, but I'll just read the transcript. Jennifer Norris, who is employed by Trinity School in New York City as its director of student activities, was recorded admitting how her current leadership role facilitates her goal of promoting politics in the classroom. I keep trying to disrupt wherever I can, Norris said, and now I'm in a position to do that. The school official claims that she uses her time at work to advance her ideological objectives. I don't hide how I feel, but I can't pretend I'm not promoting an agenda, even though I clearly am with all the stuff I'm doing, she said. To avoid attracting school administration's attention to this ideological work, Norris tells the Veritas journalist that some things must be done subtly. Quote, or this is her saying, there's always a group of teachers who want these activist things, but the administration just won't let us do it. So we've been just sneaking things in through the cracks. You do that, you do what now? The journalist says. You know, it's like they don't like the administration, was much more conservative than most of us. I'm really good friends with the associate head now. She was an English teacher, and then she just kind of moved her way up. She was a department chair, and now she's an associate level. So I go talk to her all the time, and she's amazing. Like, she really cares and has the power to change things. So I feel like I finally have a way to get it done. But when I started here, I hid my whole life. I felt like a double agent. It's just nice we don't have to hide our activism outside of school. We don't have to hide who we are. Like, we can bring our whole selves to work and do important work now. Not teaching math, obviously. The director student then appeared to express disdain for a range of white students who attend the school. Quote, unfortunately, it's the white boys who will feel very entitled to express their opposite opinions and just push back. Isn't that what students are supposed to do? There's a huge contingent of them that are just horrible. And you're like, are you always going to be this horrible, or you could just be horrible right now? The journalist says, is there any saving these Republican white guys? I don't know. I think they need to go. I think they're really awful people. The kind of what I'm afraid of with my white students that are rich. I'm like, do you ever have to deal with this? They're so protected by capitalism, it makes me sad. This is a high-paying position at a private school, by the way. Teacher writes, we need to find some Dexter, some sort of vigilante to take people out. You know the show Dexter? Oh yeah, we just need some vigilante Dexter's like, here's your community of targets. Administrator also suggested that holding conservative views at the school might not be worthwhile. I mean, we, Trinity School, are not as left as I am for sure, but definitely a school where conservatives would not feel comfortable. She went further. She affirmed that as a decision maker for student activities, she will not permit right-leaning speakers or ideas to be presented to the pupils. 2 days a week, I bring speakers in from outside, so that's been a huge opportunity for me just to bring things, any social justice issues or people with experiences. Yeah, so it's been really fun. Do you have to fight with the staff about not letting conservatives speak? No, I mean, I talked to the principal and I was like, so I'm running this. I'm 100% democratic with the students. Doesn't sound like it. And I will tell them the speaker's options and they are voting. I'm not going to just be like, these are our speakers for the year. I mean, are you kidding me? Then the journalist asked Norris about her thoughts on potentially having a man dressed as a woman get paid by the school to speak in front of children. It's funny, my friend Moses the drag queen, I told him I'm on a date with a teacher. He said, ask her if she'll have me meet her at school. Sure. Journalist, would you do it? Are you open to having him talk about his... Yeah, I mean, I'm friends with all the librarians too, so I can see. A drag queen thing? Oh, absolutely. You'd be down? Of course. What if he wants money though? How much money? You might be able to do $500 or $700? We have a lower school. It's a K through 12 school. What? Gross. I read the rest of this from PV on their website. It's absolutely shocking stuff, and I will continue to report on it as long as they continue to do the great work that they do. Get involved in your schools, parents. There is a lot more people like this lurking around. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.